Randy Pan, the Go Boy, here with Aria Quigley from the Denver Roller Dolls. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Randy?
I'm doing awesome. Having a great weekend. So let's talk about Denver a little bit. Heartbreaking loss, quarterfinals. Clearly, Denver Roller Dolls a championship level playing team. How did you come out of the bout into the rest of the weekend?
You know, we had to take the loss for what it was and move on. We still had a bunch more games to play, and we wanted to succeed in those games, so had to leave that behind us and knew we were on the path for the 5th and 6th place game, and that's what we're going for now.
And you're going for it against Bay Area, the 25th anniversary versus the 50th anniversary, the Glitter Bowl, the get new friends, keep the old, one is silver, one is gold bout. So you played them last year. They edged you out of the opportunity for championships last year. You played them again at RollerCon and win them. What are you coming in with tonight?
You know, Bay Area is a strong team. They're good competitors. We're coming in. We want the win. We're going to have to, you know, play hard and shut them down, and we're going to go for that 5th place.
Awesome, excellent. Well, good luck to your team, and get well soon. We're going to miss you out there. Thank you very much, Ms. Quigley, and we'll check in with you in just a bit for the Glitter Bowl.
Woo! This are inside. Astronauti coming up from the back. Juska's up front. Juska's out. She is lead jammer Juska for the Denver Roller Dolls.
And it looked like there had been a call in the middle of the pack. There was a question about whether it was an elbow. It was not a call, as a matter of fact. Knock Knock looking a little sad about that.
So Astronaut is still trying to make her initial pass through the pack. She's knocked down. Juska up. Looking to complete a scoring pass. Got to get past Knock Knock. Out of play is the call, and she's through for all 5 points. A grand slam for Juska.
That looks like a major forearm sending Astronauti to the bench. So this is indeed, I'm sorry, not the bench, the penalty box. This is a power jam for Denver.
Bay Area gets all their blockers up front. Pack slows down. Denver engages. Here's Juska. Good four wall by Bay Area. Juska forced to the outside. Looking for some help from her blocker. She's finally getting it as the pack becomes mixed up.
Demanda Riot doing a good job of getting in front of Juska along with Auntie Christ.
And no pack. Pack quickly reformed in time for that not to be a penalty, and Juska's out for 4 points. I believe she had a minor track cut there, Hyman.
That's another Denver blocker going to the penalty box. Juska getting beaten up by Auntie Christ. And now she's at the front end, hasn't gotten the out-of-play call. She's still part of the pack.
Good bridging here by Bay Area to keep Juska in play. There's a minor back block on Juska. And a good hit by Liza Machete forces her out. And standing and now back in the pack is Astronauti. We're back to full strength.
Denver Jammers having a tough go of it in the last bout that they played with penalties. This is going to be a penalty-focused game, I will call it, with Denver first on the board, 13 against Bay Area, nothing right now.
So Astronauti was just able to get back into the pack before 2 minutes into the jam. So coming now to the jammer line for Bay Area is number 26.
That is
Chantilly Mace. We'll do that later.
You knew we were going to see that one today, up against Rusk for Denver.
2 blockers for Denver, 1 blocker for Bay Area in the penalty box. Chantilly Mace looks for an inside line, but up and out is Rusk. Rusk is not sprinting forward. Looks like she was going to try to recycle Chantilly Mace. Now both jammers get recycled down, and Chantilly Mace is up and out, and we'll see if Rusk calls this off as a clear positional advantage for Chantilly Mace. And she does a gamble there, Double H.
That was a gamble that did not pay off for Rusk there, doing a little bit of her own defensive jamming. On the jammer line now, the Dr. Hauschka's jammer line. Dr. Hauschka is the official bruise healer of the WFTDA. Lose the bruise with Dr. Hauschka's Ouch Aid. Right now, that is Adams on the line for Denver.
And number 500, Ivy Profane for Bay Area. Looks like we have 3 blockers for Denver in the box. One of them is standing, so less than 10 seconds. Full complement of Bay Area blockers, and that helps Ivy Profane, and she's out and through. Lead jammer for Bay Area.
A great rear wall by Bay Area. Great 3 wall at the back, keeping Denver behind them.
Adams with a minor track cut, only 1 player, not a major. Back in it now is Ivy Profane, and she's working on a scoring pass. 20 feet out of play. Adams is free of the pack, but finishing a scoring pass is Ivy Profane, sees Adams, calls it off.
That was an inadvertent pack split wrenching situation at the back for Bay Area where they were actually allowed Denver's jammer to get through because of that call. That is 4 points for Bay Area. Denver 13, Bay Area 4.
So Bay Area finally gets onto the scoreboard after 3 jams. We've got Kraus coming to the jammer line for Denver.
And then is Astronauti for Bay Area.
Astronauti in her first jam of this game did go to the penalty box, allowed Denver to put up the 13 points they currently have.
That was a no pack call, getting this jam started.
And Astronauti is up, she's out, she's lead jammer, jumped just over the apex. Very good way to stay in as she's out of the pack.
Great pack work there by Denver. Well, trying to get their jammer through. Bay Area answering completely. And it looks like Astronauti gets knocked out around turn 1 on the inside.
She did. She was able to stay out of bounds, did not come in for the cut, so she's back working on a scoring pass. Meanwhile, Kraus still on her initial pass as that's a jammer lap point, and that is 5 points. Grand slam for Astronauti.
And that looked like another minor picked up at the back for Denver. Denver's jammer.
Kraus is out of the pack here, so Astronauti's got this small portion of time as here comes Kraus. Kraus is about to score some points. She does right there. Both jammers scoring points right now, Double H.
Astronauti coming up, trying to put her hips past the 3-wall up front. Rivas doing a good job leading up that 3-wall, keeping her behind them. Astronauti trying to find a way to get her hips in front. She does, and that looked like a
major track cut.
This is not what Bay Area was looking for the first couple jams of the game. Right now the score again, Denver 13, Bay Area 9.
So Kraus is out of the pack there for a 5-point grand slam. Astronauti is not really skating quickly to the penalty box. Took some time there. Advantage for Denver as Kraus comes around now for a second scoring pass.
Denver doing a darndest trying to get that 4-wall knocked apart. Bay Area doing a fabulous job with that defense up in front. Bay Area walling it up at the front, and Denver not able to knock it down too much. Now it's a 3-wall. Kraus looking for a way past.
And 2 minutes into the jam. That was 4 more points for Kraus, 3 points for Astronauti. Double H, what we saw there was Astronauti really took a huge gamble not calling off the jam number 1. I think she was kind of hoping her defense would hold on to Kraus while she was able to score points. Then had the major track cut. Gigantic positional swing there in terms of momentum towards Denver with that no call.
WFTDA would like to thank Adam Wheels, the official wheel of the WFTDA today, for all their awesome support for the Big 5 tournaments.
All right, we've got Juska on the jammer line for Denver. Remember, Astronauti in the penalty box. Juska's up, around, and through. Juska lead jammer for Denver.
Denver has a full complement of blockers. Bay Area only 3, and that looked like an elbow major up at the front, but it was not called. There's nothing there.
And that is a grand slam for Juska. If any team in this country knows how to take advantage of a power jam with a slow pack, it's Denver's. Here comes Juska around. Pack completely not moving in turn 4. Juska jukes, jives, past, knock past the last blocker. That's another grand slam. And out of the penalty box, Double H, is Astronauti.
Astronauti. Defense slowly waning here for Bay Area.
Astronauti gets out of the pack. That was her initial pass. Juska looks for one more pass and very wisely calls it off. 4 more points.
Denver doing a great job of roughing up Bay Area's defense in that last jam, Kool-Aid. We're going to take a second to thank Rydell Skates, proud partner and official skate of the Women's Flat Track Derby Association. Rydell Skates. Now on that jammer line, look who it is, Kool-Aid.
Why, that would be Rusk for Denver.
And
Chantilly Mace and a pretty face and a pretty smile. All right, we'll stop.
So we're 3-on-3 to start this jam off, and it looks like Bay Area is going to get the no pack call to start it off. Rusk doing a little defense work on the inside.
And Russ comes through on the inside. Bay Area left the door open. Russ came right through. Lead jammer for Denver.
You got to have great communication to wall it up like that right off the jammer line.
Chantilly took a nice cut around the outside. She is out of the pack, but here's Rusk on a scoring pass.
She's coming up behind a wall of gold, glittery gold. Bay Area, if they can wall it up properly, can do a great defense here, but they're not quite making it. It looks like Bell right hook.
And Chantilly Mace comes in for a scoring pass of her own. And no pass, no penalty. Good call by Rock. That's 3 points for Chantilly Mace as Rusk is still working on her initial scoring pass.
Meanwhile, her bench is screaming at her to call it. She finally does.
Good time to no call there. She had already scored 3 points, was not going to be able to get out of the pack, I think, before Chantilly came in to begin a second scoring pass. Good time to call it off.
Denver in blue and silver at 39 points. Bay Area in gold and black at 15. WFTDA is very grateful to have OHSU here, the official sports medicine providers of Bridgetown Brawl. There have been a few injuries in this tournament this weekend, and they have been there at every turn, Kool-Aid.
All right, we've got Adams versus Ibuprofen on the jammer line.
Ivy looking for an inside line, getting forced to the outside by Akers.
Adams is up, and so is Ibuprofen. She is out. Ibuprofen is lead jammer. Adams is almost out, but that was Booyah with a nice hit to the outside. Adams does now get out about 60 feet behind Ibuprofen as here comes Ivy looking on a scoring pass, but Double H, all three Denver blockers very far up front.
And it looks like Booyah headed to the penalty box along with a Denver blocker. So we're at the same ratio, and we're at a score of Denver 39, Bay Area 18. WFTDA would very much like to thank Spendlin Media. Spendlin Media, Outside the Lines, a new kind of t-shirt. Check it out if you plan on coming down to any of the Big Five tournaments at the Spendlin booth, or check them out at spendlin.com. Right now on the Pabst Jammer line, the Pabst Blue Ribbon start line is Astronauti and Kraus.
Oh, and Kraus swings around to the outside, looked for an inside line, but it was closed. Thought she was going to get out there for just a moment. Both jammers working hard.
Demand a riot.
Astronauti comes up and around the outside. Rivas is there, and out is Kraus, lead jammer, and Astronauti gets taken down. She's got to recycle all the way back through the pack.
Demand a riot did a great job. Defense on the inside line couldn't quite hold Denver's jammer. Meanwhile, there's 2-on-2 here. Astronauti still trying to find a way through that front.
Astronauti with a quick burst of speed. She's 10 feet behind Kraus. Here comes Kraus into the pack. Astronauti into the pack. Kraus gets through.
Frisky Meow looking for a way to get back in. Kraus calls it just as she does so.
And 0-0, we're just going to do it again.
All right. We would like to thank Union Vacations. Union Vacations is proud to provide the 2011 WFTDA MVP with a one-week getaway to Mexico, senor. That sounds delicious. I love Mexico. That sounds amazing. Union is also sponsoring the winner, the package for the winner of the 2012 grand prize for this year's Big Bracket Bonanza.
All right, we've got Juska versus Chantilly Mason. Just like that, Juska is out for lead jammer. 15 feet behind her, though, is Chantilly Mason. Chantilly Mason putting on the Jets. Juska sees her and responds in kind. The back of the pack is full of Denver blockers.
And there was no pack for a moment there, actually, Kool-Aid.
The pack configuration there, Bay Area very wisely got all their blockers up front. That forced Juska to call it off as she knew Chantilly Mace was in a better position to score points.
That's right, there was a no-pack situation there for a few seconds and no calls. There were no penalties for failure to reform, so they reformed quickly enough, but that was a great strategy there. Rusk on the jammer line for Denver, and Ibuprofen on the jammer line for Bay Area.
Remember, it is Denver in the blue, Bay Area in the gold, as we've got a rugby scrum in the back. Both jammers trying to get through. Ivy gets knocked down, back up again. Rusk up front.
And that looked like a fourth minor, sending Rusk to the penalty box. This is a power jam for Bay Area.
Exactly what Bay Area needed, Double H, as they've got just one blocker in. Denver does have a full complement of blockers on the track right now.
Bay Area's defense not looking what it has been lately. There's a full complement of Denver blockers up at the front.
No pack. Pack reforms, but Ibuprofen is out for all 5 points. Grand slam.
They got the out-of-play call quickly enough that there were no penalties assessed. Ivy coming up the back. She's got just 2 blockers. Advantage Denver here.
Ivy in, hits the back wall. No fouls called, I think appropriately by the referees. Pack begins to pick up speed. Bay Area moving into it as well. Looks like they've got Rivas in the back now. And that's going to allow Ivy Profane to get out for another 5-point grand slam. Bay Area is closing this gap quickly.
That was nice work at the rear by Bay Area, slowing that to a no pack.
And Rusk is out of the penalty box. Power Jam is over, 30 seconds left. Remember, Rusk is going to be on her initial pass here as Ivy Profane on yet another scoring pass.
Rivas headed to the penalty box for Denver, as is Liza Machete for Bay Area.
And out for another, all 5 points. Got the grand slam. Good time to call it off. There was only a few seconds left in that jam. Good call off by Ivy.
I am totally energized by this Denver Bay Area bout, Kool-Aid, and Rockstar Beverages is helping me get there. Rockstar energizing brawl fans, skaters and volunteers, and those of you watching the WFTDA broadcast right about now.
All right, so 39 for the gals in blue, 33 for the gals in gold. Adams versus Astronauti.
That's right, Astronauti back on that line again.
Astronauti has been out there jamming 4 times today, Double H. 3 times no lead jammer. The one time she did get lead jammer, she then went to the penalty box, and that was the huge jam that allowed Denver to open up the lead that they held until this last jam.
Denver had the Bay Area had the opportunity to burn a little time on the clock there, and they get lead jammer status right away. Astronauti
with a nice move on the inside. Adams got through a 2-wall all on her own. She is out of the pack for not lead jammer, about 60 feet behind Astronauti as she comes into the pack hot into Akers. No call, but Adams is in, scoring points right now.
And that is a major back block. That's a major back block for Astronauti. That was a concern about the call.
And it looks like the jam got called off. So this is what I believe we just saw, Double H.
And a timeout by Bay Area to confirm this.
Astronauti hit Rivas.
Yes.
Called off the jam.
Yes.
The jam was called off.
Correct.
Then the penalty came in, which
Correct.
was a major back block on her as the jammer. The jam had already been called off.
Yep.
Now, in typical circumstances, if you are not lead jammer and you call off the jam successfully, that in and of itself is a major. I don't think we'll see that assessed here, as the penalty had not yet come in at the time that she called off the jam.
Correct. They did not levy the penalty until after she had already called off the jam. And it looks as though the jammer ref did not call that major penalty then.
That was the inside pack ref that communicated, that called the major back block on Astronauti. Be that as it may, though, we're now 42-33, and we're likely going to be starting a power jam. That was the second time in this game Astronauti, as jammer for Bay Area, has gotten lead jammer. That was the second time as lead jammer she's gone to the penalty box. Last time it led to a 16-point jam by Denver. We'll see what happens here, as Juice is going to be coming to the jammer line unless something changes. Likely unopposed.
Nice crowd here at the Memorial Coliseum in Portland, Oregon, looking for...
Someone's not aware of what region they're at right now.
Looking for we're at the West Regional Playoffs for WFTDA. You are watching us on WFTDA.com. WFTDA.com, of course, bringing you all of the Big 5 tournaments. The next one will be live from Kansas City, followed by North Central, which will take place in Indianapolis. And finally, the championships, which will take place in Denver, Colorado, brought to you by Denver, the Denver Dolls. The Denver Roller Dolls are going to be bringing the championships to us this November. WFTDA would very much like to thank Skate Court. Take your league to the next level with Skate Court Roller Derby Flat Tracks. Skate Court. We're going to get back into it now after a bit of a timeout.
Bay Area was challenging the major back block call. The call stands. So as we said, 42-33, Denver Juska jamming all by herself right now. 3 versus 2 pack advantage for Bay Area over Denver. Good 3-wall up front by Bay Area. Now Denver brings their blockers into the pack. Juska looks for a hole. Pack speeds up. Now 3-on-3, now 4-on-3 as blockers are coming out of the penalty box.
And there's just one skater, and she gets right past her. And that is lead jammer status for Juska.
Now, Liza Machete did a really smart thing coming out of the penalty box there. Very slowly took her time to re-engage. More on that as here comes Juska again for a second scoring pass. pack is slow. There's 20 feet out of play. Juska's around for another 5-point grand slam.
And they're forced to let her go. Denver trying to slow this pack down, keeping it at the back, keeping Bay Area from going too far in front of them. A 2-wall trying to hold Juska back.
Nice moves by Juska. Liza Machete with a good hit there. Booyah follows up the set and spike. Again, the pack picks up, and Astronauts out of the penalty box. Full complement of jammers. Astronauts around for her initial pass.
Her bench is watching closely. Denver's bench is taking a look to see, and she calls it.
Good, solid jam by Juska. I do want to again go back to that re-entry from the penalty box by Liza Machete. Very smart. Had she come straight onto the track, she would have been an easy goat, if you will, for the Denver pack to hold onto and stop the pack. Instead, she slowly skated around the outside, out of bounds line. Never came in, but didn't delay coming in. It was really smart play.
And depending on what region you're in, that is called a goat or a runting strategy, where you are trapping one of your opposing blockers, reforming the pack there.
Or kitty in the basket, as we've got Kraus jamming against Chantilly Mace, and it is Chantilly Mace is lead jammer for Bay Area.
And that was Knock Knock on behind the jammer line, taking her intentional fourth to go to the penalty box.
So Chantilly Mace is 30 feet behind the pack, closing quickly. Kraus still on her initial pass. Here's Chantilly Mace. Oh, on through and untouched for all 5-point grand slam.
Just under 12 minutes here in this first period. Bay Area has an opportunity to come back and put some points on the board. They're looking to their defense to help them out, but offense just as much. This is the kind of lead jammer status that I know Bay Area was looking for.
So Kraus is now on a scoring pass as the non-lead jammer. It looks like Chantilly Mace was about to call it off, did not. So that's 4 points for Kraus. Chantilly Mace really needs to get this scoring pass in quickly, as Kraus is about a third of a lap. Chantilly Mace finishes the pass, calls it off.
Not sure why she didn't call it there, Kool-Aid. I wasn't sure if Chantilly Mace was confused about whether or not that was Denver's initial pass, but she did allow a couple points to go on the board there for Denver. Meanwhile, Rusk lining up on the jammer line against Ivy Profane.
So 56-42, just under 11 minutes left in this first half. Tight game so far. Penalties have been the major difference makers. Power jams have really what allowed the teams to open up leads. Rusk moves around on the outside. Got Booyah and Liza Machete up front. They hold her, but not long enough, as Rusk is out for lead jammer for Denver.
Denver's walling not quite what it has been in previous games. I'm not seeing the defense holding as much as I would like to if I'm a Bay Area fan.
Now Ivy Profane was able to get out of the pack quickly. Rusk attempted to hit it and quit it, but not quite in time. It looks like that was 2 points for Denver, 1 point for Ivy on that pass.
Again, we're at a score of Denver 58, Bay Area 43. WFTDA would like to thank Dr. Hauschkas. Dr. Hauschkas celebrates the fresh faces of the WFTDA. Dr. Hauschkas. I'd also like to thank Elemental Technologies. Elemental, the world's most powerful video processing solutions, helping us to bring this broadcast to you today.
And we are 5-on-5, no in the penalty box. Juska versus Astronauti. Astronauti working her way up front. Juska in the back.
Nice work by Akers. There's Bay Area looking to get some offense here.
Astronauti working her way again. Akers with a nice hit. Juska now up front. And that is a major back block on Juska. Power jam for Astronauti.
This is the Bay Area defense we've come to know and love, getting their jammer through. Sugar push at the front. That looks like a 5-point pass.
Excuse me, that is lead jam status for Astronauti.
There you go.
It took her 45 seconds to get out, but she is out now on a scoring pass. Denver wisely gets all their blockers up front. Bay Area not really engaging their blockers into the pack. Now they do. Psychotherapist comes up and then comes back again. Bay Area not really actively engaging the pack. I think they're almost hoping to get a quick no pack call and get the jammer out and then reform it. As a major Astronauti gets out for that. There's her grand slam.
And that looked like Sage going to the penalty box for Denver. Yes, Akers is addressing an equipment issue.
And that allows Astronauti to get around as only Rivas is in there to attempt to stop her, and Astronaut calls it off after a second grand slam, bringing the score 58-53.
And that was the 5-point pass I must have psychically seen earlier. From our vantage point, it looked as though Rock had been holding up 5 fingers, but it was the lead jammer L. Meanwhile,
so Knock Knock now coming to the jammer line for the first time tonight. We saw her jam extensively in Bay Area's first 3 games. By and large, she's done a very good job. She had a rough game yesterday. We had multiple trips to the penalty box. We'll see what she does here. Juska is standing as the Denver jammer, so she'll be out shortly.
once again, the pack had been no pack. Now they are defined. And Knock Knock is trying to get through.
Knock Knock is up and out. Knock Knock, lead jammer for Bay Area. Juska out of the penalty box and in the back of the pack working on her initial pass.
Denver 58, Bay Area 53. This is really where Knock Knock can shine. We got 7.5 minutes left in this ball game.
Knock Knock comes around untouched on the inside. Door was wide open, and that's 5-point grand slam for Knock Knock.
This is the game-changing. This is the game-changing jam for Bay Area right here. Knock Knock pulling it at a 58-58 score.
Juska still just now gets out of the pack. That was her initial pass. Knock Knock looking for another scoring pass. Does a nice juke on Carson. 20 feet out of play, calls it off. And 5 more points for Knock Knock. Bay Area has its first lead of the day.
And that looked like an out-of-play major, sending Auntie Christ to the penalty box for Bay Area. When you're Bay Area with just under 7 minutes left, you do not want to lose any of your blockers to the penalty box. Your blockers have done a tremendous job, Bay Area, holding these walls and great pack communication. That's not what you want to see. Just 2 gold blockers on that track, Kool-Aid.
All right, on the jammer line for Denver is we have a official timeout.
WFTDA would officially like to thank 5on5 Magazine, the official magazine of the WFTDA. 5on5.com, check them out. WFTDA would also like to thank Union Vacations. If you've been playing along with the Big 5 Bracket Bonanza, and we hope you have, the grand prize, which will be for the championship brackets, all 5 of the Big 5. The grand prize is going to be a trip to the 2012 championships, the WFTDA championships, for 2. That's tickets, airfare, hotel, Union Vacations.
Now, in the West Region Playoff Bracket Challenge, the West portion, we had over 700 brackets submitted.
Phenomenal.
There are currently 3 perfect brackets. 3.
Wow.
Now, of those 3 perfect brackets, 2 of them have chosen Ole. 1 has Rocky Mountain as the winner. Remember that those last 2 games, the semifinal and the final, are very large point-wise, 8 points each for each of those. So I'm really curious. This is going to be fun to see the eventual winner of this Western Bracket Challenge.
So let's talk about what's going on out there right now. The officials letting the benches know that there's a lot of unsafe behavior going on out there right now, and they have been warned about misconduct, and we're hoping that that's going to change in the next 6 minutes and 20 seconds for both sides, because this game is so close that neither one of these benches wants to lose skaters to foul outs or misconduct calls of any kind.
All right, we're back to it again. Adams versus Chantilly Mace. Double H Adams, this is her 4th time on the jammer line. She has yet to get lead jammer status.
Denver taking the knee.
Looks like she almost had it inside line, but the door was closed quickly. Adams is up, Adams is out, Adams is lead jammer for Denver.
Demand Riot couldn't get to her fast enough. Meanwhile, Chantilly coming up to the front. Great work at the front by Rivas.
And Chantilly Mace does get out about 70 feet behind Adams as Adams enters the pack here on her scoring pass. Gets a few points and calls it off. I like that call. I like the call. You've got 3 of the 4 points available to you. Chantilly Mace coming in hot and heavy. You know that last point is going to be very hard to get with the potential for the other team getting points there. Call it off. Take your 3. Call it good.
We're going to remind you this is the battle for 5th place. Place number 5. Denver will be hosting championships this year in November, which is going to be extremely exciting. So no matter what, they're going to be there. Unfortunately, neither of these teams will have made the cut for championships, but Denver hosting the tournament.
All right, I've got Ivy Profane jamming against Rusk. Russ comes around. Nice move around the outside. Quick move, and she's up for lead jammer.
Profane looking to break the pack at the front.
Quick moving pack is really helping Denver here as Ivy Profane unable to get out. She does finally do so, but here comes Rusk on a scoring pass.
Nice work at the front by Dolshall, keeping Profane behind her.
That was Liza Machete, came right out of the penalty box and set right back for a major low block.
That seems like some of the unsafe behavior the officials were trying to warn them about, and Rusk calls it, and that looks like 4 points for her. And we have about 4.5 minutes left. WFTDA would very much like to thank Rydell Skates, proud partner and official skate of the Women's Flat Track Derby Association. I have to believe some of these skaters today on the track are skating on Rydell Skates.
Denver coach out talking to the head ref for this game, Professor Murder. If I'm speculating here, but I imagine it's a lot to do with that last major penalty on Liza Machete.
On the line for Bay Area, Knock Knock and Kraus for Denver. Kraus coming in quick, looking for an inside line, does not get it. Meanwhile,
Knock Knock taken down with a back block. She's back up. Knock Knock is going to the penalty box for a major elbow. Excuse me, I thought that was a back block. Looks like it was an elbow, and out for lead jammer is Kraus for Denver.
not a lucky break here for Bay Area with 3.5 minutes on that clock and just 3 points between them right now. Denver 66, Bay Area 63.
Only two blockers out there for Bay Area, Demand Riot and Booyah. Both excellent blockers, but this is a huge task as Kraus gets out and goes to the penalty box for a major back block. So we're going to play musical chairs with the Jammers.
One of my favorite games.
Jammer A goes to the penalty box. Jammer B goes to the penalty box. Jammer A then serves the same amount, will come out. Jammer B will serve the same amount of time as Jammer A. Either way, Knock Knock is out of the penalty box, looking to complete her initial pass through the pack.
That's right, she got called just before completing that initial pass. So she's got to do it now. She's got about 48 seconds on the clock. She can certainly do that and start scoring some points if she can get past Denver in the front. Amanda Riot helping her out.
Kraus is up and standing in the penalty box. And major out of play call on Denver, gets Knock Knock out. Kraus is out. Now this is a scoring pack for Kraus.
That's James on that out of play call for Denver. She's going to the penalty box.
Nice move around by Kraus. Up, gets just past Booyah. That's a 5-point grand slam. But here comes Knock Knock on a scoring pass with just 17 seconds left in this jam. Sage becoming a point for her. Both blockers becoming a point for her at the front, and that looked like 4 points on that pass for her, Kool-Aid. That was 4 points for Knock Knock as Kraus now comes in hot and quick. Jam's almost over. She's got to go. Quickly gets 2 points on that last pass. So almost a good break there for Bay Area as Knock Knock went to the penalty box, but then Kraus followed her. So what could have been a huge jam for Denver, as that was a power jam for Denver with only 2 blockers out there for Bay Area, turns up to only be a 6-point lead now for Denver over Bay Area.
It could have been a little more prolific for her had she completed her initial pass, but she did not. And Astro Naughty on the line, and Juska unzipping that 4-wall in the back like it was a piece of clothing, Kool-Aid.
Astronauti on the jammer line for Bay Area. She is trying to get out of the pack, looks for some help. Begeman's up front with her, holding her. Here comes Juska looking to score points as she enters the pack.
Begeman did a good job holding down the front for Denver. Meanwhile, Astronauti out.
Thus forcing Juska to call it off. So with 57 seconds left when that whistle blew, we will get one more jam here. No need for either team to call a timeout. Both teams still with 3 timeouts, and we've seen many times this game how vital it is to hold on to at least 1, if not 2 of the timeouts. Denver yesterday had some excellent clock control there at the end thanks to the use of their timeouts.
Rusk on the line for Denver and Chantilly Mace for Bay Area. Just about 30 seconds left on the clock. As Kool-Aid said, this will probably be the last jam here. Denver 77, Bay Area 66.
And 67 points for Bay Area as Chantilly Mace in the back next to Rusk. Rusk moves up, so does Chantilly Mace. Good defense by both teams.
Demand Riot
Chantilly Mace is up. Chantilly Mace is out. Chantilly Mace lead jammer, Bay Area. And I do believe major block to the head for Rusk. She is going to the penalty box. Power jam for Bay Area.
I was sure Amanda Riot had actually knocked her out, but she stayed on her skates only to incur a block to the head penalty, which is an automatic major. Chantilly Mace trying to make it through the inside, trying to jump the apex.
Tried to jump the apex, was knocked out of bounds, recycled back, tries to do it again. Good defense, good offense by Bay Area. Chantilly Mace uses their blockers. She's up, she's out, and that's going to be how many points? 5-point grand slam.
All right, Chantilly's got another full minute left in this jam to do something. A couple seconds before she gets another opposing jammer back out the
20
box.
seconds left on the penalty for Rusk as here comes Chantilly Mace on a second scoring pass, runs into her, and Amanda Riot goes down. No penalty there, as obviously it was her own blocker.
James working on taking Chantilly Mace out. And Cruz taking her down at the front, and she calls it, Kool-Aid.
She just called off. She got all 5 points. There again, we see she had the points, but just couldn't get out of the pack. Remember, once you get the points, they don't get taken away.
That is good to note. Also good to note, Derby skins. They love making your hiney shiny.
So as we go into halftime, Double H, tie score 77-77, 30 minutes of flat track roller derby action, and we go, we'll just call it 0-0 and see what happens in the next 30. Really, so there again, we saw the consequences of jammers going to the penalty box. The power jam killed both teams, or helped them, depending on which team we're talking about. We'll have to see if penalties come under control in the second half, and we'll have to see if some of the what the refs were calling unsafe play.
We are headed into the second half of Bay Area versus Denver. Once again, the score is 77-77. You're watching the 2011 West Region Playoffs live from Portland, Oregon in the Memorial Coliseum. I am Double H here with Kool-Aid, and we are just about ready to get into the second half. Kool-Aid, any thoughts about where these teams need to go?
Penalties and the avoidance thereof.
That is a very good place to start.
Number one, you've got to keep your blockers out, obviously. And number two, you've got to keep the jammers out. Each team had 3 power jams. Astronauty, and Knock Knock for Bay Area. Rusk, Juska, and Rusk again for Denver. Those are the difference. I mean, you don't send your jammer to the penalty box. You're talking 10, 15 points swing in this tie score. I'm sure both teams talked about it. And the refs are calling it tight. They're calling it consistently, but they're calling it tight. So we've seen major forearms, major track cuts, major back blocks have all sent the jammers to the penalty box. Those are things easily corrected if you're paying attention and working towards a clean game.
All right, and the Women's Flat Track Derby Association would very much like to thank some folks who helped make this tournament possible. Vanilla Skates. Let Vanilla Derby take you to success with our leather Renegade and straight jacket boots. And Fat Tire. Follow your folly and try a Fat Tire Amber Ale today.
You know, I've tried a Fat Tire Amber Ale.
I thought you were going to say you've tried to follow your folly, and this is where it ended you up.
That would be
this
true as well.
This is where you landed. This is where Kool-Aid landed after following his folly.
But I will tell you this, Fat Tire Amber Ale gets the John Kool-Aid Porter seal of yummy.
That's a big yummy. Another big yummy is Jules Doyle's photography book, No Mercy.
Also yummy.
It is yummy. The new Derby photo book from Jules Axel Adams Doyle. It is in the house right now, and you will be able to find it online. Jules helping us out with some photography, the Women's Flat Track Derby Association. He is there in the middle right now taking pictures. The middle of the track.
All right, so let's reset the action for you. When that last whistle blew in the first half, Rusk was still in the penalty box. I believe I saw her standing. She is not standing now, but she can't have more than about 10 to 15 seconds left on her penalty. That means Knock Knock, jamming for Bay Area, will have a very short period of time to jam unopposed.
Bay Area taking a knee right off the first whistle, and Astronauty taking her intentional 4th minor.
And Knock Knock on the inside line. It was wide open, and she's out for lead jammer. Rusk is out of the penalty box. And she's out of the pack just like that for non-lead. So Knock Knock's going to have one chance here to get this scoring pass done. And she does with a little bit of help. Outscores 4 points, calls the jam. Bay Area has the lead.
Bay Area opened up that door for their jammer, and that's the Bay Area defense that and slash offense that I am very familiar with. Astronauti still in the box. Meanwhile, Adams on the jammer line against Ivy Profane. And that was a game changer right here, which it'll probably change again. Denver 77, Bay Area 81.
3-2 pack advantage, Bay Area over Denver. Adams looks on the outside, but on the inside and through for lead jammer Ivy Profane, Bay Area. Adams is recycled back up and again. Frisky Meow holds her, but not long enough, and she is out. Frisky Meow captured her again, chased her, captured her, forced her back, and Ivy Profane now on a scoring pass. Gets past Dorado, and she's out for 5 points. Grand slam. Adam gets past Psychotherapist, and both jammers out 30 feet. In front is Ivy as she comes into the back of the pack.
Adams still showing great skate control, staying inbounds and on her skates through a number of hits on that jam Kool-Aid.
One more point there scored by Ivy Profane on that last jam. Hit it, quit it, smart play.
WFTDA would like to thank BuyNewSkates.com. Check out BuyNewSkates.com either online or on your mobile phone. BuyNewSkates.com.
And coming back to the jammer line, neither of these girls any stranger to the star on their helmet. Rusk versus Knock Knock.
Juska lining up behind the jammer line to take her intentional fourth.
Smart play there. Juska's one of their power jammers. Clear those 4 minors so she can come back and skate minor free as the jammer.
And it's 3-on-3 in the pack right now.
As Bay Area doing a slow start, likely trying to kill their blockers. That is Brawlin' Angel sitting in the penalty box. And down goes Knock Knock, and I believe we're going to see, yes, a major forearm on Russ. That is power jam now for Knock Knock. I saw the hit, and I knew Rock was going to call it, as out for lead jammer is Knock Knock.
Bay Area doing a good job opening the inside line for their jammer there. She gets through. Knock Knock is going to knock at the back door of this pack right now.
Knock Knock in, around, swings through, and little contact there, no call. Knock Knock gets back up. Pack gets spread out, and she is out. 5 points, grand slam.
Rivas tries to keep her behind her. Rivas doing a good job trying to block at the front for Denver. It's 3-on-4 now, pack advantage, Bay Area.
Knock Knock comes in, swings past James.
Getting
Rivas
caught
up front, 20 feet out of play, and she's out for 4 points. Now 5 points.
He thought it was a no pass, no penalty, but he throws that thumb up anyway.
And as the jam is called off, Rusk is standing in the penalty box, so we'll start on the power jam for Bay Area here as Astronauti comes to the jammer line, but it's going to be a very short power jam.
This is the Bay Area that I thought I was going to see when I sat down to call this game. We're at a score of Bay Area 96, Denver 77. Bay Area doing such a good job defensively in that pack, and then offensively opening up lines for their jammer. Let's see if they can do it again in this one. It's a power jam situation.
This is the Bay Area I thought I was going to see when I picked them to win the region in my brackets.
Nice work.
Solid 3-wall by Denver. Astronauti not having any luck. Now gets some help from her blockers as Rusk exits the penalty box. Power jam is over. Remember, Rusk is eligible to get lead jammer status. As she comes around on the outside, does Rusk and gets taken down. And meanwhile, up front is Astronauti out for lead jammer. That was Slaby Majora with a, I believe, a major low block. So Rusk working her way on her initial pass. 40 feet behind the quick-moving pack is Astronauti. Rusk looks to set up her defense.
Astronauti coming up behind a wall of blue and silver at the back.
Good play there by Denver as they moved all their blockers into the back. That forced Rusk out, but then the Denver blockers quickly returned to engage Astronauti, who calls off the jam, scoring 3 points for Bay Area.
Denver has already shown so far in this West Region playoff tournament how easy it is to get inside their head with just a couple of jams. And we've talked about the mental game. Certainly, if Bay Area can stick a toe in the door of their mental game, as they have seemed to right now, they can do some serious damage, which it looks as though they have. Bay Area 100, Denver 77.
Remember, this is Bay Area in the gold, Denver in the blue. Jusko on the jammer line for Denver. Ibuprofen for Bay Area. Ivy takes a nice dip juke around up front. She goes down quickly, back up. And she is out for lead jammer. Ibuprofen for Bay Area. Juska still in the back of the pack.
James going to the penalty box for Denver.
And Juska with a nice move around the outside. Quick burst of speed. She's out of the pack, but here's Ibuprofen on a scoring pass. Comes around on the outside, and that was a major track cut on Ibuprofen. We saw the whole thing, Double H. I agree with the call there. Meanwhile, Juska now jamming by herself, not the lead jammer, so we're going to go the full 2 minutes.
We have about a minute 15, a minute 17 left on that jam. And this is where Denver could do some real damage and close the gap. Bay Area 100, Denver 77.
So that was a 5-point grand slam for Juska. 40 seconds left on the power play. Here's Juska in for a second scoring pass. Psychotherapist just knocked her out of bounds. She recycles back. The pack is in the back, 20 feet out of play. Juska's around for another 5-point grand slam.
Nice runting / goading at the back by Denver.
Nice kittying in the basket.
Bay Area walling it up. Can't quite get to Denver's jammer. Can't quite get to her.
Oh, nice jump by Juska. She's up front with Psychotherapist. Comes around on the outside. Leaves her behind for another grand slam. Juska, that's her 3rd grand slam as Ivy is standing in the penalty box. Power play almost over. No pack is called. Pack reforms. No penalties assessed. Here's Juska on a scoring pass.
And that's Akers in the box for Denver.
Ibuprofen closing quickly. Remember, this is going to be her initial pass. So the best I think she can do here is get up front and try to play some defense.
That's right, and the jam is over. Denver striking back. Bay Area 105, Denver 92. Take a second to thank Iron Doll Clothing. Iron Doll Clothing, one-of-a-kind uniforms for the modern roller girl and referee, Iron Doll. On that jammer line now for Denver, Adams, and Knock Knock for Bay Area. It looks as though Chantilly is lining up for her intentional 4th, and she gets it, so she's going to the box.
Adams quickly up front. Knock Knock as well. Knock Knock looks for the outside line. The door closes. Adams now looks for it as well. Solid 3-wall by Bay Area. Adams up front. The pack is in the back. 20 feet out of play. She's out for lead jammer. Adams for Denver.
Bay Area very loose in the front in this jam. Not entirely what they're looking for.
Knock Knock does get out of the pack. 3/4 of a lap behind the Packers. Here comes Adams, comes through on the inside, gets up and out, calls it off, and scores 4 points for Denver, bringing this now to 105-96, 21 minutes left. Double H, this is going to come down to the wire.
Bay Area loosening up those walls. When those walls are solid, this is so effective for them. When it's not, it is disastrous. And that looks like it's going to be a time out, Bay Area. So we're going to take a moment to thank some of the people who made this wonderful event possible. Roller Girl Skates. Roller Girl Skates, have you been smacked by rollergirlskates.com yet? If you're planning to come to the Big Five, stop by their booth to play. Otherwise, visit them on rollergirlskates.com. WFTDA would also very much like to thank Wicked Skatewear. Wicked Skatewear is in the house today at West Region Playoffs. Say hi to B-Train and Strychnine if you're planning to come down. Otherwise, visit them at wickedskatewear.com. And WFTDA would like to thank Green Monster Roller Sports, Terminal Gravity Pale Ale, and Blood and Thunder Magazine.
I would be remiss if I didn't point out that Terminal Gravity Pale Ale also gets the official John Kool-Aid Porter seal of yummy.
I'm sensing a trend here, and it has to do with with alcoholic beverages.
Of which I've had none this weekend.
Absolutely not.
All right, we've got Russ coming to the jammer line now for Denver against Astronauti. 105-96. Denver takes a knee. Remember, that will release the jammers immediately. 2 blockers in the penalty box for Bay Area. Only 1 for Denver. And an illegal procedure is called there by Rock on Russ.
Yep, on his jammer.
The jam has begun. No pack is finally called. And Astronaut is being set for a major block to the head. So that's going to be a power jam now for Denver as Rusk has quite a bit of time here. We'll see what she can do with it. Only 2 blockers on the pack as Rusk comes right through, untouched past those 2 blockers. She's out for lead jammer.
I tell you what, I did not see that contact, but I certainly saw Rusk grabbing her face in pain, and that is an automatic major. It looks like 2 on 4 in the pack here. Advantage Denver.
Russ comes in again. Just a 2-wall by Barry is all they can do. Full complement of skaters for Denver. She's out for a grand slam. Rusk.
Denver bridging the gap. Just 4 points separating them in Bay Area. Looks like she could possibly get them right here, Kool-Aid, without a whole lot of effort. And
past Sprawling Angel, she does, and that's going to be another 5-point grand slam. Bay Area is about to have a full complement of blockers, but still another 25 seconds left on the penalty for Astronauti.
All right, Denver needs to open up some holes here for their jammer. Easily happens.
Rusk is around again, Double H, for another grand slam. We have a lead change, 111 to 105. Astronauti back on the track now. We're 5 on 5 for just a second. But Knock Knock is going to the penalty box, and that is the jam.
And that is a gain of nothing for either squad.
So there again, we see the penalty box continues to come into play. Bay Area has a nice lead. Astronauti goes to the penalty box. Rusk gets lead jammer, takes full advantage of it. Lead advantage now to Denver, 111 to 105.
And one of the things I'm seeing here is almost as though when Bay Area's jammer is in the penalty box, somehow these walls are losing their confidence. It's not just the penalties, it's the communication within the pack for Bay Area that is doing them in right here. Denver 111, Bay Area 105.
Juska on the jammer line for Denver. Ibuprofen for Bay Area. The pack has started. Lots of positioning. We're off.
Juska getting taken down behind a wall of gold, and that looked like a...
Ibuprofen is up and out, Double H. She is lead jammer.
I'm sorry, back block major, sending Juska to the penalty box. This is now a power jam for Bay Area.
Power jam with lead jammer status already established, and that's a 5-point grand slam for Ibuprofen, as she's going to have about 50 seconds from right now to work on this power jam.
Slavia Majora headed to the penalty box for Bay Area.
Ibuprofen almost got out.
We are 2 on 2 now in the pack.
Quick moving pack. Denver able to keep this speed moving quickly.
Demanda Riot trying to open up some holes for her jammer, and she does. That is a 5-point pass for Bay Area coming back. Bay Area 115 now, Denver 111.
Long and Doleshall doing an excellent job in that pack, holding on to Ivy, but she's up, gets on through on the inside line. Another grand slam. Bay Area takes the lead. Juska stands in the penalty box.
We are 3 on 3 now in the pack.
G-Money yelling at Ibuprofen to call off the jam. He wanted to start off this next jam with as much of the power jam left as he could. Good bench management by Bay Area.
I just saw him actually physically sigh and wipe the sweat off of his brow. That is intense. What's also intense is Dr. Hauschka's. Dr. Hauschka has an amazing bruise healing product called Lose the Bruise with Ouch Aid. It's amazing. You should try it. And their skincare products available at drhauschkas.com.
All right, so Chantilly Mace starts off the jam on the jammer line opposed. Juska's out. Chantilly Mace is out for lead jammer, but so is Juska out of the pack. Chantilly Mace now slows down. Looks like she's thinking about recycling Juska, which allows Juska to get in front of Chantilly Mace. That's going to negate the lead jammer status.
And she looks at her bench. Chantilly looks at the bench. She says, no, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to burn the clock off a little bit. So she's just going to wait.
Interesting call. Actually, great call, as she did release the last Bay Area blocker from the penalty box with a delayed call off there, now explaining to her coach what she was doing. I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry.
She clearly had a better vantage point of the box there. And Astronauti on the line against Rusk.
All right, we are 5 on 5, playing roller derby the way God intended it to be played. No one in the penalty box. 111 for the girls from Denver in blue, 120 for the girls in gold from Bay Area. Jam has started. 3 kneel, 1 go. That should packs up front, and we're off. Hockey scrum in the back. Both jammers looking for a position, looking for an open lane.
Great pack work at the front by Bay Area, protecting the inside line.
Again, when it's 5 on 5 like this, really hard time for those lanes are not nearly as open as we're used to. But Astronauti gets up around lead jammer Astronauti, and Rusk is forced out of bounds. Believe that was Amanda Wright on the hit.
Bay Area protecting that inside line tooth and nail. It worked out in their favor. They were able to open it up for their jammer.
And major forearm being called on Astronauti. She's lead jammer. She's going to the penalty box. Advantage for Rusk here, who's still working on her initial pass through the pack Double H.
Bay Area trying to protect the front. Right now packing it up here, 4 on 4. I'm sorry, now 4 on 3. Denver blocker going to the box.
So here comes Rusk on her first scoring pass. She is not lead jammer, but she's the only jammer on the track.
That's Carson going to the box for Denver.
Rusk kind of skating slowly, waiting for her blockers to get up into the pack, help her out. All 4 Bay Area blockers up front.
Amanda Riot punishing her. And this is where they can wall it up or protect that line very well. This is what Bay Area does very well. They expand and contract, expand and contract.
Dolezal was attempting to get Amanda Riot to bring her back. Amanda Riot instead knocked Dolezal out. Rusk still in the back of the pack. She now does get in front of Amanda Riot, so Denver has their 1 blocker to hold on to. We'll see if they can stretch it out. They're going to make a play for a 20-foot call. Out of play, she's up, she's out. Rusk finally gets through for a 5-point grand slam, and that ends the jam.
Astronauti made a move to get back on the track, so it's quite possible, yes, we are going to start with a Bay Area jammer, and that is going to be Knock Knock jamming against Kraus for Denver.
Really powerful jam there. Powerful penalty kill by Bay Area in that last jam. Had a full minute of power jam happen with only 1 scoring pass by the Denver jammer, Rusk.
They are able to collapse and expand their blocking lines so effectively, their walls.
All right, we're up, we're out. Kraus comes around on the outside, looks for an outside line, instead sees Brawlin Angel, but that's an illegal procedure. Major called on Kraus, and she's going to the penalty box. Power jam now for Bay Area.
I'm not sure if she engaged. Was that an out of play or a legal procedure? A legal procedure. Not sure what that call was.
It was a legal procedure. We'll get a clarification. Meanwhile, Knock Knock working on her. Again, her initial pass through the pack here. Do not believe lead jammer status was given to Kraus, so Knock Knock should still be eligible. She is. Knock Knock is lead jammer for Bay Area with 40 seconds left on the power jam.
Okay, that's a false start. The illegal procedure was a false start, and she failed to yield, so that was a major, sending Denver's jammer to the box.
So Knock Knock now working on a scoring pass 4-wall up front. She's muscling her way through all by herself as Bay Area blockers thought they had a goat in the back. Instead, Knock Knock gets knocked out of bounds, recycles to the back. No pack is called. A lot of contact. That was a minor back black there on Knock Knock. Akers with a good, solid hit on Knock Knock. She stays on her skates, though, does Knock Knock. And the pack is in the back. That gets Knock Knock out. 5-point grand slam. Kraus is out of the penalty box, though, for Denver. And Knock Knock calls it off.
This is the pack work I think I expected to see from Bay Area when I, as I said, showed up to call this game. Bay Area 127, Denver 116, Kool-Aid.
The only thing I'd be curious on that illegal procedure for the false start, why it took so long to be communicated as a major. Typically when the jammers false start, they yield position immediately. and then there's no call, or it's a minor rather, or they do not yield, and it's immediately called there. It took almost a full half of a lap before Rock communicated that illegal procedure. So,
Ibuprofen jamming against Juska.
Juska up front, and out is Juska. She's lead jammer. Liza Machete does not stop engaging in time. That is a major out of play. Meanwhile, Ibuprofen, though, out of the pack, 50 feet behind Juska, who's closing quickly and into the pack right now. And Juska sees Ibuprofen, calls it off. I don't think she got, nope, excuse me, she did get 2 points there.
Liza Machete in the penalty box now for Bay Area. Women's Flat Track Derby Association would very much like to thank Sin City Skates. The Big 5 Skate Tax. They'll fix your gear or chat about new stuff. Sin City Skates, someone we'd like to give a lot of love to for the WFTDA Big 5.
All right, so with under 11 minutes left, 118-127, Adams comes to the jammer line for Denver, and Chantilly Mace for Bay Area. Commander Riot forces Adams out. She recycles back to the back. Chantilly Mace having no luck of her own up front, though.
She was looking for a line on the outside, gets taken down after turn 2.
And out of play, Adams is out. Adams lead jammer for Denver. They need this. They have not had lead jammer status in 4 jams now. Chantilly Mace still working on initial passes. She's forced down to the ground. We've got a skater on the ground. It's Akers. She's up. Slow to get up, but she is up. Meanwhile, Adams working all on her own up front. There's out of play. She's out for 4 points. Would have been a grand slam, but one no pass, no point, no penalty.
And that is Frisky Meow going to the box for Bay Area.
Here's Adams back on another scoring pass. Chantilly Mace still working on her initial pass. Both jammers take a hard spill. Chantilly Mace slow to get up, but she gets up as well. And Adams cuts through. Jump the apex. 5-point grand slam. And another big hit. Chantilly Mace hits the ground. That is Akers just having her way with Chantilly Mace right now. Here comes Adams. Another scoring pass. We've got a tie game, 127-127. Adams was forced to the inside, comes all the way back, and Adams did not stop in time. She came inbounds, major track cut, power jam for Chantilly Mace, who after 1 minute and 30 seconds has not yet cleared the pack, Double H.
She's eyeing up the back of the pack, and she is slowing down. She looks very, very tired. This is a 4-2 pack advantage for Denver, and she wants to make sure that she can get through where she can with Liza Machete and Antichrist helping her out, and she does get past.
She does, but there's only 6 seconds left in this jam. She's going to have to turn on the jets. I don't know how much jets she has after that beating that Akers gave her, and that is the jam. No points for Bay Area. So 131, 127, 8.5 minutes left. However, we have a power jam beginning now for Bay Area as Knock Knock comes to the jammer line unopposed. We're going to have about 25 seconds of power jam here.
And we get a blocker back for Bay Area, so we're looking at 4-on-3. Still a pack advantage, Denver, but it is a power jam. And Bay Area is going to start on a knee, automatically getting that no pack call to start the jammer whistle.
Denver takes a solid 4 while there. Again, we see the hockey scrum in the back, 3 versus 4 in front. Everyone keeping their skates moving. You're allowed to make contact as long as you are essentially making a derby move. Nice move by Knock Knock. Gets past 1, past 2, past 3.
She does manage to stay in bounds, but she gets reabsorbed into the pack, and now she is through to be lead jammer for Bay Area.
She gets it, though, just as Adams, though, comes out of the penalty box quickly into the pack. So we'll see if Adams can do. Nice move by Adams. Cuts around, so she's out of the pack now. Only 1 scoring opportunity here likely for Knock Knock as she comes into the pack.
We are 4-on-4, and that is going to be a major back block.
Major back block on Knock Knock. Meanwhile, while that was happening, Adams came through untouched on the inside line for a 5-point grand slam advantage, Denver.
We have no pack, and that looked like a low block call, Or was that an out-of-play call?
Now, Bay Area blocker on the ground, slow to get up, and she crawls off the track. So the jam will continue. Another grand slam for Adams.
Out-of-play calls for Sugar Pusher. Out-of-play call for Brawlin Angel. And we have an injury. I'm sorry, we have an official timeout. We have an injury. All right, we have a lot of physicality going on. The officials have already had to talk to both of these benches today about the physicality going on out there, the safety.
So the initial report is that the jam was actually called off due to injury. It looked to me as if this down skater, which is a Psycho-Serapis, was making her way towards the inside track. She was doing so slowly, but was clearly making an effort to get off the track. Kind of a gray area, though. It was due to injury. So this means two things. One, obviously the ref's very concerned about the safety of the skater. She was making an effort to get off the track, but not doing so quickly enough for the ref's liking, which I understand. You have to be most concerned about the skater's safety more than anything. Now, we don't know the nature or the extent of the injury, but remember, regardless, if Psycho-Serapis is able to come back from this injury, she has to sit out for 3 jams due to the jam having been called off. Which
is exactly why we are absolutely thrilled to have OHSU in the house, the official sports medicine providers for Bridgetown Brawl. And medics so important here this weekend. There have been several injuries, very few of them serious, thankfully. And that's exactly what we want to see. That's why we have medics in the house. That's why we have medical staff on hand, Goulet.
So Adams with just an amazing jam in that last game. She came in low and fast on the inside several times for multiple grand slams. What we're going to do now, 141-129, Denver over Bay Area, blue over gold. Juska jamming all by herself as Knock Knock is still in the penalty box wearing the jammer cap for Bay Area.
WFTDA would also like to take this opportunity to thank Fast Girl Skates, Merch Mama, and Derby Supply.
Looks like it's going to be 3 blockers in for Denver, 2 for Bay Area.
Once again, Denver on a power jam.
Little confusion on the penalty box, and we are still in an official timeout. We're going to add 26 seconds to the game clock. Remember, this is still just an official timeout. Denver has all 3 of their timeouts. Bay Area has 2, so both teams well positioned to play with the clock at the end if they so need.
And if they keep playing the way they've been playing, they are going to need every second.
Now we have Sugar Pusher skating off back to the bench.
Liza Machete back in for her.
So it looks like we're Sugar Pusher was not supposed to be in the box, so we're going to be 3-on-3 in the pack with a power jam for Juska. We're off. Juska up front, stays inbounds. Juska lead jammer for Denver. No pack is called. Pack reforms. No penalties assessed.
Bay Area's wall not looking too strong up front in this jam. They're going to have to tighten up their defenses if they want to keep Juska behind them.
Oh, Juska struggles off some hits, stays, gets past Liza Machete. That's a 5-point grand slam.
Bay Area's got to get their confidence back if they want to hang on to their lead. Denver can open them right up with this power jam.
Knock Knock back on the track for Bay Area, but Juska is out for another 5-point grand slam. Now Knock Knock got out, so both teams out, and Denver calls it off there, does Juska. Maybe a time there where you would have wanted to run a bit more clock. You've got a 22-point lead. Kill some clock.
Yeah, if you're Denver, that's exactly what you want to do, and you have 5.5 minutes left to do it. Thankfully, again, Denver still has 3 timeouts remaining. They are going to be looking at clock control here very heavily. Ibuprofen coming on that line for Bay Area, Kraus for Denver.
All right, here we go. 151-129, just over 5 minutes left. Kraus versus Ibuprofen. Kraus up front, twirls, pirouettes. She is out. Both jammers out. Ibuprofen is the lead jammer for Bay Area. Kraus had a no pass, no penalty, therefore not lead jammer. While she was, I think, sort of clarifying with the ref, Ibuprofen able to get positional advantage. She calls it off when looking at the composition of the pack. All the Bay Area blockers were in the back of the pack. She knew she could not engage, quickly calls it off. 4 minutes, 43 seconds. We're going to do this again. We've got time for between 3 and 5 jams, you would suspect, Double H.
Astronauti on the line for Bay Area. Rusk for Denver. Both of these teams coming down to the wire here with 4.5 minutes left to go. And Bay Area is going to take a knee.
Bay Area, again, clock is not their friend. Not an insurmountable lead by any stretch of the imagination, but they need to do it quickly to get back in, though, as Rusk is up and around. Rusk is lead jammer for Denver.
Astronauti getting hung up at the back, pushes through. She's through her initial pass.
Good strong move there by Astronauti to get through, stay in bounds and on her skates, but here comes Rusk on a scoring pass. Checks the position of Astronauti, calls it off. Beautiful jam by Denver. G-Money's looking at the clock. You have to start thinking about timeouts now. Remember, 30 seconds go off the clock between each jam. No timeout here, saving them up.
And that's the time you want to talk about pack communication, which Bay Area seems to be having a problem with in this last couple of jams. Adams on the line for Denver, and Knock Knock back on the line for Bay Area. Bay Area taking a knee, getting the no pack call right away to start that jam.
Knock Knock up front with a solid 3-wall of Denver, and Adams up around, and major track cut on Adams. Denver's jammers going to the penalty box. Power jam now for Bay Area with 3 minutes, 13 seconds left. This is exactly what Bay Area needed. Knock Knock still eligible to get lead jammer status. She's knocked out of bounds, though. Cruz, excellent defense. Cruz Dolezal let her go. Knock Knock is lead jammer with 40 seconds left on the power jam.
And she's only got 2 blockers to protect her, Frisky Meow and Brawlin' Angel. They're going to need to open up some holes to get her through to take advantage of this power jam.
Denver moving as quickly as they can. Knock Knock forced out of bounds. Carson, good hit there.
Bay Area trying to control the pack at the back, trying to keep the pack in the back.
Knock Knock is unable to stay in bounds. Solid hit there. Knock Knock looking at the blockers. Carson and Begeman up front. Knock Knock working her way, finally gets out 4 points.
Frisky Meow in the box now for Bay Area.
But Adams is standing. G-Money says call it off. So again, with 2 minutes left, just over 2 minutes left, we're going to start with a small power jam here, Double H.
And again, no timeout, Kool-Aid. Yet to call a timeout here.
And there's the timeout.
There we go.
Good call by G-Money.
Very good call by G-Money. And so if you take this opportunity to sit down with your bench, what you're going to want to talk about, obviously, pack communication. I've seen several times, actually on both of these squads, blockers not able to see the position of the opposing jammer fast enough, and that is not what you want when this game is so tight. Denver 155, Bay Area 133. There are only 1 minute and 58 seconds on that clock, Kool-Aid.
So Ibuprofen jamming now unofficially for the 7th time. She's gotten lead jammer 3 times. She's not gotten lead jammer 3 times. You've got to get lead here. Absolutely critical. You've got to get lead, get it quickly. At the very least, you hope your team can hold on to Adams, who's going to be coming quickly out of the penalty box, already standing, less than 10 seconds. You hope that they hold on to her long enough for you to get more than 1 scoring pass, but critical for Bay Area here to get lead jam and get at least 4 points cut into this 22-point lead. We're about to do it. Here we go, Hyman.
And it looks like we got 2 seconds put back on the clock here, so that is exactly 2 minutes that we are going to start off with.
All right. 1 blocker from each team in the penalty box. Will be 3-on-3 there. Blockers setting up their pre-jam positioning. I'd be shocked to see Bay Area not take a knee here, which they do. No pack. The jammers are off. Ibuprofen is knocked to the ground quickly
by Sage. Adams out of the box.
Remember, Adams is eligible for lead jammer, which she gets as she cuts through. Lead jammer Adams for Denver Roller Dolls.
Demanda Riot headed to the penalty box for Bay Area.
Ibuprofen looking to get out of the pack. She does. She's got to get up and quickly close as Adams is, I think, wasn't skating 100% there, watching to see what was happening. Now here comes Adams on a scoring pass, 50 feet behind her, and closing is Ibuprofen. And Adam hits it, quits it. Call gets 4 more points for Denver. We'll see if Bay Area uses their last timeout. They do.
Good call by Bay Area. They want to take every opportunity they can to stop, reassess, hold the clock, think clearly. Speaking of holding on to lead, I would very much like to hold on to a Voodoo Donut. WFTDA and Rose City would like to thank Voodoo Donuts, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Portland Pedicabs, and Sock Dreams. So much love for the sponsors and vendors in the house this weekend and with the entire Big Five tournaments.
So here's what we have. 1 minute, 21 seconds left. 1:59 for Denver, 1:33 for Bay Area. Quick math, 6-2, 26 point lead for Denver. We've seen many times in tournament play 20 to 30 point jams. Certainly not an insurmountable lead. We'll likely have one jam left. Remember, 30 seconds are going to tick off the clock. Denver is not going to call a timeout. Bay Area is out of timeouts. So Bay Area either has to hope that this is the jam, this is the big jam, or that they can get 4 points quick, call it off quickly in time to get one more jam into this game, Double H.
Juska has been very prolific for Denver so far. Denver showing a lot of confidence, a lot of stamina in the last couple jams in this second period. Bay Area, not so much. They are going to take a knee, though.
And we're off. Juska, Ivy, Chantilly Mace both up front. Now Chantilly Mace in the back. Good defense. Packs all spread out. Chantilly Mace almost had an inside line. The door was quickly closed by Akers. Now Chantilly Mace gets up. She is lead jammer as Chantilly Mace. And Akers set for a major out of play, I believe. Meanwhile, Juska still in the pack, so this is what Bay Area needed.
Great work by Chantilly getting her hips in front of Akers.
Akers comes to the penalty box. It's full of Denver. She gets sent back in. That's a 5-point grand slam. She calls it off with 41 seconds left. I see the logic there, Double H. I see the logic. You got 41 seconds left. Yes, you have lead jammer, and yes, you have a pack advantage, but you've spent, at that point, I believe, 45 seconds of the jam. So you call it off. You've got time for one more full jam. This is it, folks. 159 to 138. This is going to be the last jam in this game unless we see overtime. 21-point lead, and who's on the jammer line?
That's Astronauti for Bay Area, Rusk for Denver. Astronauti is off and running.
Astronauti is through. Astronauti is lead jammer. Carson has to hold on to Rusk here. She does. Quick moving pack. No pack is called. Rusk is out. We're going to see, I believe, some major failure to reforms as Rusk gets out. Astronauti's in scoring points.
That was actually an out-of-play major. Bay Area engaging the jammer. That was Bell right hook.
Astronauti with a nice move. She cuts around, but here's Rusk on her own. Both jammers scoring points. 5 for Bay Area and 4 for Denver. Advantage Denver right here as there's a minute 16 left in this jam. The game will end when this jam does.
Great work by Demanda Riot getting Rusk down. That is no pass, no point for that, for Demanda Riot.
So no points scored there by Rusk on that pass through the pack as she passed none of the blockers legally inbounds. Astronauti did, though. She gets 4 points, but positional advantage as Rusk comes through. She got some points that time. There's 4 for Denver.
Meanwhile, Carson and Frisky Meow headed to the penalty box. Penalties heavy on both sides.
Rusk comes back in, another scoring pass. Denver, I think, is sewing this up. Astronauti, remember, for Bay Area does have the lead jammer status. She can't call it off.
And that is a major cut. That is a major cut, sending Denver's jammer, Rusk, to the box.
Astronauti's got 24 seconds. She's got to skate hard and fast. You can see the fatigue. You can see the pain. She's putting everything into it. But this Denver defense has been so strong and so powerful. She's just not much left in the tank at this point, Double H.
No, and Denver's blockers not even heading off in a running game that fast at this point. With 3, 2, 1 seconds left.
And that is the jam, and that will be the game. Wait for a final score. 171 for Denver, 152 for Bay Area, and the Denver Roller Dolls are the 5th place team at the WFTDA 2011 West Region Playoff.
Well, hi there, Teresa Rusk. How are you feeling after that amazing game?
I wish I had a new pair of legs. I'm exhausted.
Fair enough. So at the half, you were both at 77. So what was your strategy going into the second half?
Well, we really tried to maintain a positive attitude on our team, and so we really just looked at, great, we're starting over, just like a 0-0 beginning of the bout. We really talk about, not playing as individuals and making sure that our team is connected on and off the track and making sure we're maintaining a positive attitude.
Well, from the sidelines, it was very exciting to watch, but it seemed like Denver spent quite a few minutes in the penalty box. So how did you sort of slow that down for the second half? Do you feel like you did?
I do. I mean, you always, it's obviously being a contact sport, you're always got that in your back pocket of being able to hit somebody and try to make that last minute takeout, which all of us loved that. But really just trying to control each other on the track and make sure that we are playing together and within arm's reach of each other at all times.
Also, there were a few power jam situations where Bay Area really maximized, capitalized, and pulling in front, staying really close. So again, how did you stave them off?
A lot of that again comes back to our same strategy of stay together, no girl left behind, and making sure that we are the best force of butts that we can be on a track at any time.
Well, thank you so much, Teresa Rusk, and congratulations on the 5th place. And
thank you.
I look forward to seeing you in Denver, where the Denver Roller Dolls are hosting the championship.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.